I'm here at Burgess High School in El Paso, Texas, where the school district is going against Governor Greg Abbott's ban on mask mandates and is now forcing students to wear masks. One student thought this infringed on his freedoms and he decided not to wear a mask. What happened next is extremely interesting. His story has drawn protests outside his school, and each morning for the past week, protesters have been outside protesting the mask mandate and what happened to him. Basically, he was separated from other students because he didn't want to wear masks. Well, I'll let him tell you for himself. So you're outside protesting the mask mandate, and the reason this protest is here is, well, kind of because of you. Tell people what happened and what's your situation here.
So once the EPISD implemented a mask mandate, on the day one, Monday, they gave me a referral and in-school suspension, which is when they put you in the back of the library in the very back room, alone, segregated from the rest of the school. I did that for a week, and now I am in alternative school with kids who fight, do drugs, and all that stuff, just for not wearing a mask.
Now, you think that's unfair, and a lot of people here, they're forced to wear masks against the governor's order,
Yes.
Saying that there can't be mask mandates. Do you think the school should be punished?
I think the school just needs to be held accountable, and they need to realize that what they're doing is wrong.
Now, what of your fellow students, or I guess in a way former students here, what do they think of your situation?
A lot of students are just complying because they feel they have to. They don't realize that they have that choice. They are being told by the teachers and by the administration that they have to wear the mask, so they're just complying. But the students that don't want to comply and the students that aren't complying are being punished.
Now, why do you think it's important to have the choice of being able to wear a mask?
For me personally, I grew up as a military kid. I didn't get to live a normal life, moved around a lot, not a lot of stability. And I didn't do that just so my freedoms can be taken away. We have the freedom in the state of Texas and under the Constitution of the United States to have the right to choose. And that's to choose whether we want to wear a mask or not also.
Do you think that masks are beneficial?
Masks are not beneficial, but even if they were, I'd still be out here protesting for choice.
Now, what would you say to students here at your school?
Think for yourselves, do some research, don't just follow like sheep. We need to be able to teaching us to do, but we're not doing it. And if you support, just stand up for yourself and your right to choose.
Now, what would you say to the administration that put in place the mask mandate here?
You guys have power and you guys have an influence on these students, so if you know what's wrong and you really have done the research, and I know there's a lot of teachers and administration out there that know this mask mandate isn't allowed, just let the students know that they have choice.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Some people driving by wanted to show their support for the protests, so they honked their horns and gave big thumbs up. Then there were those that disagreed, including this person that appears to work for the school.
Fight for your right to choose.
It's not about me. It's about them.
It's about politics.
Why don't you wear a better mask? Not a mask that comes from a box that says it doesn't protect you from COVID.
There was even a couple of students that decided to come over and talk to the protesters. They ended up having a rather interesting conversation with the mother of the student who did not want to wear his mask to school. Here's that conversation.
What's your view?
I just don't like the fact that people are, going against masks if you're trying to take care of yourself. So I don't.
But for Skylar, he's not against you wearing a mask. He's against him being told he has to wear one. We believe it's your right to wear one, and your right to wear one, and my right not to wear one.
Yeah, but yesterday I was walking, and I don't think she was here, but this lady yelled at me, take off your effing mask, and you need to breathe this and that. Why did she
I
do that?
recorded that, and I have it on recording, and she doesn't represent me, but I can tell you she didn't say the F word, and she was wrong for yelling at you. I promise you she was wrong for yelling at you. But her belief, so this is how it goes. I don't believe that you should have to take your mask off. I believe you should have a right to wear a mask. I believe I should have a right not to wear one. I believe any kid in there that doesn't want to wear one shouldn't have to wear one. But just because I want to wear one, I could have a bunch of different reasons why I want or don't want.
Right, but not fair for the people that have disabilities because it's dangerous.
Have you looked that up? Do you have studies against it? Because
I've talked to teachers too, and they agree with me because it's not fair that they don't get to come. Everybody has to have the same rights, and the fact that they can't come to school because they can get sick.
but they could get sick before, and those masks you're wearing don't protect against coronavirus. It says it on the box. You can read it. Those masks that you guys are wearing are made for people in the hospital that are going to come next to you and do something with you, so they don't get their mouth spit on you because you're coming in sick, right? But they were never made to stop the transmission of viruses, ever. And I don't believe there's many studies that support that me wearing a mask is going to stop kids with disabilities from getting coronavirus. I don't think there is. But I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I am saying be careful giving the teachers in there or the teachers at any school this is true because they said it. Do your own research. Look it up. Look up peer-reviewed tests. Look up different studies that have been done. Before coronavirus came out, all the studies said masks didn't work. All of them. There was many viruses before coronavirus. And if you can get, which the internet's kind of blocking us a little, but if you can get back to studies that were done before coronavirus ever came, there's a whole bunch of studies that say masks didn't work. I want you to think about one thing. After there was the Spanish flu, certain Asian countries wore masks all the time. Do you know that? There's certain countries that they just put a mask on when they get dressed in the morning. For years they've done that. That's just their culture. If you go to the world population counter online, it tells the coronavirus numbers. The coronavirus numbers in the countries that were masking before coronavirus and the numbers in the countries that weren't are the same. To me, just with my own mind and thinking, that tells me masks don't work. Because they had masks on when coronavirus came to their country.
I have a question. Did you vote for Trump?
I'm not going to disclose my...
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
not
I
gonna
shouldn't have
disclose
asked it that way. I'm just saying, do you agree with what he said?
I actually haven't been following Trump since he got out of office.
Because that's the whole thing he started. I don't think really smart.
I'm going to college right now, and I have an ability to look up some studies that are done that you can't really get to unless you're taking classes. Like your university opens up their library for you. And I went in there last year when this all hit, and I just started searching peer-reviewed articles that are about masking and viruses. And I did my own research. I didn't get it from anyone else, if that's what you're asking. I did it myself, and I saved all of them, and I did it on both sides. There are many tests right now that say masks work post-coronavirus. But I don't know if that's jaded, because viruses have been around forever, and the studies done before coronavirus said they didn't work. So why would they work all of a sudden?
I also have another question.
Yeah.
Why at a school?
Because he goes here and he's being punished as if he,
I mean,
he's
it's not
getting
a
the same
punishment.
punishment. No, it's a punishment.
They're trying to protect us.
You could breathe through a mask.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
couldn't breathe through it, then
Have you guys seen, there's a video online of a construction worker. So construction workers get in little tiny places, right? They have to do all sorts of stuff.
But we're not construction
No,
workers.
I
We're
know.
at school.
Listen.
I had the same argument with my dad. You can breathe through a mask.
If I had a pulse oximeter right now, I'd be able to tell you if your oxygen level is the same with or without it. If your oxygen level lowers
But I'm
on a
Everybody's
daily
fine.
basis,
No
your
one's dying.
organs are damaged. You wouldn't be able to tell until you're older. When you're 40 and you have a condition with one of your organs because you were constricting oxygen to them for years and years and years in a mask. We don't know any of the long-term effects. We don't. I personally want you guys to come over here and ask questions. I'll talk to you. Some of these other people will talk to you. I'm not against you wearing a mask. I think it's awesome that you want to wear a mask, whatever your reasons are, and I think you should be allowed to. And we could mask before this. I don't think you would have ever got, well, I don't know. I don't know if you could cover your face. Remember when they said you couldn't wear hoodies?
I've never gotten COVID, and it's because I wear a mask. Because my family members have.
Oh, good.
And my family members, on my dad's side, are against it.
Did you know that you can get COVID with no symptoms?
Well, I am.
Did you know you could?
Every single time my family members got sick, I got tested. I got tested about 12 times.
Have you been tested for antibodies to see if you got it and you were asymptomatic?
I don't even know what that is.
So they can do a blood test and they can see if your body's building up against the virus, which means you got it earlier. And then you would know if you got it and you were just asymptomatic. They're not very expensive, and your doctor should be able to put it through like lab work.
Alright.
If you're interested, then you would know. Maybe you got it, you just have a really awesome immune system.
What confused me the most, though, was the fact that most students didn't even wear a mask until they got on campus. Beforehand, they were walking, talking with friends, not even social distancing. So if the majority of students actually believed that the mask was for their own good, wouldn't they do it at all times, and not just when they were told to? I mean, obviously, students aren't suddenly immune from COVID as soon as they're off school property. It also begs the question, how far will the school go? Could they say, you have to wear masks at all time if you want to come to school? They're already going against the governor's orders, so I would really like to see how far will the school go and how far could they go. It was a really neat story to cover. I was able to hear from both adults and students with different opinions on whether kids should be required to wear masks to school. Hopefully it helped you form an opinion, and maybe it even changed your viewpoint on the story. I'm Phoenix with Phoenix Rising in America, and this is our country.